For 29 years, Tom and Michele Heidenberger lived the good life. He flew for U.S. Air, she worked for American Airlines. They had 2 beautiful children. But on 9/11, Michele was assigned to Flight 77 when it hit the Pentagon.
That is a day that literally it devastated my family. It brought an awful lot of pain and anguish to myself and my children. I can't even fathom the suffering that Michele would have gone through on the airplane. It never goes away. You know, every now and then I look through the kitchen door, the side door, and to this day I think that Michele will come walking in there.
In 2006, Tom left the cockpit and made a plan to see the country from a bike seat instead.
I'd always been fascinated by the geography because I saw it only from one aspect, from the air. I'm looking down, it's just about a bunch of cities, dirt, and roads. We're riding today in memory of Chick Burlingame.
But he also wanted America to remember that fateful day in September of 2001.
I wanted to highlight the sacrifice that the 33 crew members made on that day, as well as to recognize how the first responders were literally the crew members on the airplane.
So he organized a group of fellow pilots to ride along with him to raise some money for the 3 memorials in Pennsylvania, Washington, D.C., and New York City.
The trip itself was very much an eye-opening. People were, again, supportive of the ride, supportive of the cause. People knew where we were coming, and in a place like Wickenburg, Arizona, here's this elderly couple waving at us, and then they invited us to dinner.
The trip also stirred up memories and brought back the old pain.
I didn't think it'd impact me as much as it did. You see the memorial there, you see all of this here. You get a sense of life, the loss of a human being, a loss of an innocent. It got to me.
Welcome to Pennsylvania!
Still, the family spirit the pilots shared helped keep the ride and the mission on course.
It was the airline employees that made it happen. I didn't have to ask anybody. I mean, I had volunteers, people that wanted to ride the whole way, but they couldn't commit to a 33-day ride. So they would meet us in different segments and ride along with us.
20 years after 9/11, Tom Heidenberger calls himself a survivor.
I don't want to be a role model, but I'd like to demonstrate that despite the most difficult, trying things an individual will go through in their lifetime, you can move on.
Moving on these days still often happens on a bicycle. Now remarried, Heidenberger often takes on challenging rides with his wife, Julia.
You will never forget what happened in the past, but you can move on, and I've always used the phrase, to live is to survive is to live, and living is for the survivors.
Mariam Shahzad for MyMCM.